Go ahead.
Okay. So, so welcome to another live stream here on L.E.A.R.N Invest. Today we're going to be talking about our journey from clearing $2 million worth of debt to getting to the point of investing, and how we've been able to significantly grow our net worth. And I'm saying significantly because we're in Jamaica. I can't use exact numbers, unfortunately, but we have come a long way. We are certainly very far from where we started. We have learned some things along the way. And as I work with clients in one-on-one coaching, one-on-one consultations, there are a few persons who have maybe their starting point is that they have significant debt. So we did our 5-day challenge a few weeks ago, and a few persons would have done it and their net worth was negative. And so some of them were feeling a little uncertain, not sure what to do or where to go. And this is a video that we wanted to do for a long time, but we tried to find the right time to go through it. And so we thought now would be a good time to help to encourage those persons who maybe think that they have too much debt, not sure where to go from there, maybe not feeling hopeful. So we'll give you that kind of background on us and how we started the first few years of our investing journey, how we've kind of learned to support each other for different investment styles, because I am extremely aggressive and Renee is, I'd
More
say,
conservative.
a blue chip investor. So not even value investing, like blue chip, right? And so she has one stock in our portfolio. Now, you want to mention what that one stock is? She has one stock in our portfolio, and she's just like...
I have one in mine, and I have one in our son's. I manage his too. So, you know.
And so I will say this.
I consolidate.
Let me start by saying this. Do you remember, Renee McDonald, when I said to you, I want to put our entire portfolio in Trans Jamaica? Say it with witnesses.
Yes, I do remember.
Okay. You remember what price that was?
No, I don't.
So Trans Jamaica at the time was a little over $2. And I said to her, Renee, I think we should put our entire portfolio in Trans Jamaica. She's like, why would you want to do that? Anyway, we'll get there. So Diane, we'll try to find out one day what her one stock is. But
he knows what it is. It's just
one day.
Yes. So we're going to talk about that from the individual perspective, but we also want to talk about it from the couple's perspective, because we do realize that financial conversations are very difficult for couples to have. And it is something that we're very passionate about. We believe that it is important for couples to have the difficult conversations. It's important for you to be able to talk about money and to work together as a unit to move forward financially. So we're speaking about it from the two perspectives tonight.
Yeah. And so we can probably, so I think a good place to start from is when we went in, I think it was 2014. Yeah, right around 24. So Renee, since we got married in 2009, one of our main goals was for us to own a house. Now Renee had this goal, and so when I met her, I was 19. She was 16 at the time. And we got married when I was 25. She was 23 or 22, 23.
23.
She had this goal, getting married at 23 years old, that she wanted to own her first home at 25, right?
Yeah.
And so there was this immense pressure on her to own her own home. And so that's all she spoke about. So when we were pretty much on one income, I was running my own business at the time, and I didn't get a consistent salary, right? I think my salary for myself was $30,000, right? I was like, if I can get $30,000 at the end of the month, I'm good. So we had this great idea to go into the bank and say, hey, bank, would like to buy a house. And so we did that net worth calculator thing, same net worth calculator that we gave you in our challenge. And it came back, and of course I was the liability, pretty much, because Renee was in a consistent job.
He's back.
There you go.
You don't want to go back in the office.
So he's a little bit...
All right. Stay right here. It's okay. Keep going.
Stay with us?
Keep going.
So we went in, and So we did the network calculator and looked at how much our debts were.
Don't run around this way.
So we did it, and it came out to be negative, right? And so, of course, that meant we couldn't get a mortgage. And I think when we asked the lady, what can we do? She said, well, you have to take care of your liabilities. So I had the major debt at the time. It was significant bad debt. Sorry about that. And we had to try and figure out a way to get out of it because we knew we wouldn't be able to accomplish that goal that Renee wanted. Omar, thank you for understanding. And all the parents understand, right? So, so we had to. So I felt, of course, a little bit disappointed. I felt like I was holding her back for sure. I was hoping that she wouldn't, feel like she can do better without me and leave me and find a guy who maybe didn't have bad debt. I'll just say that. I'll just be vulnerable for a minute there. And so I don't think that was when we said we were going to make the change. I don't think we got there right away. We just kind of said we'll try later. And at some point, all right, I won't get into the detail of this, but we decided at one point that we needed to make a change in our finances because we figured out that we literally couldn't continue. We're having a lot of arguments centered around money.
Yeah.
And I know it was hard because I didn't have consistent income. So a lot of the things we wanted to do, like own our own home, we wouldn't be able to do that because I wasn't earning consistently.
And I think it's also important to say, you can close the door. It's also important for us to share that 2014 was at a time in our marriage where we were so stressed by the monetary things. We were so stressed about finances that we were really at each other's throats. We were on the brink of divorce, and we share that story openly that yes, we did think about it. Yes, we did want to just say if either person said that they wanted to leave, the other would be like, all right, go on. It's fine. Go ahead. That's where we were because there was so much contention. There was so much frustration. There was a lot of resentment. And it wasn't only because we couldn't buy a house.
Yeah.
There were a lot of other contributors to those feelings. And so it was a difficult time in our marriage. And the result of going into the bank and hearing, oh no, you have and hearing, oh no, you have a negative net worth, we're not going to give you a loan.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, that was kind of I can't even say icing because it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It was that straw that broke the camel's back then.
Yeah.
For us.
And I mean, so it was because of that why I took. So I think, as I said, I think that was around 2013, 2014. In 2014, I decided to just go for the first job I could get. So my background, for those of you who may not know, is I started with my own business. That's how I met Renee. And so I used to fix computers. So I've been in tech for a long time. And so I went to fix her computer. That's how we met. She since broke the computer, so I had to go back. And that's how we started to, started a friendship. And then later on, we started to date. Okay. So I was running that business for a long time, for maybe 15 years after we met. And then I decided, well, it wasn't giving me consistent income. And so it made sense to look for other things, right? And this is one of the first lessons I'll say, where as an entrepreneur, and we know we may have a few entrepreneurs on the live here, you have to always balance your personal obligations, especially as men. Balance your personal obligations, because your family, especially if you're married, comes first, right? So I didn't necessarily want to close that business. I didn't want to feel like I was giving up on it or failing at it. but I had to do it because on the family side, we were suffering a lot, right? So I wasn't able to contribute. I don't think I ever paid a bill for a long time. So everything, all of the money that I made kind of came to me, and just to kind of take care of basic expenses, right? Like maybe buy gas or eat food or stuff like that. But I wasn't contributing to the household, right? So you can imagine the strain. And I hope some of you are being compassionate towards me, because I feel some of you judging me in terms of not actually being able to contribute meaningfully at the time. But I will say that Renee was patient. She was understanding, and she gave me the time to kind of figure things out. She never, pressured me to close the business or anything like that. You want to go and come back? Okay. Just one sec, guys. Okay. Feed him, please. All right. So our son needs some food. So she told me to keep going. So I took the first job that I was able to get here, which was an internship, right? And at the time, I believe the salary was $70,000. It was one that I was able to get through a relationship that I had with someone. Shout out to that person. You know who you are. I'm very grateful for you. And so we were able to at least have some steady income now, right? So I was able to have some consistent income. And the truth is, with my internship, I still wasn't doing much. I think maybe I got a bill or two, but we had gotten so accustomed to me not contributing. So before I got the job, Renee started tithing. And so we have a whole story there that we'll probably share in another forum. But before I got the job was when she started tithing. I joined in when I got the job, and we've been tithing since then. So we've started tithing in 2014. So we've been tithing from all of our income for the last 10, 11 years. And so when I was in that steady job now, that gave us an opportunity to start to kind of chip away at the debt. We did make a blunder while we were trying to clear our debts. So one of the things that we did is, so one of the issues that we had was credit card debt. And I remember we had, I think it was about 250 or 300,000 at the time, credit card debt. And so we had this debt. We wanted to clear it because we didn't have any disposable cash, and the card was now, for those of you who have a credit card, when you max out the card and you start incurring fees and penalties because the card is over the limit, it stays over the limit, and so you can't use it, and it keeps incurring funds every month. So it was a $250,000 card. It was at like 300,000. We decided to take a loan, an unsecured 5-year loan, to clear that card. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with it at the time. I didn't think that we could afford it, but Renee wanted to clear it, minimize our debt burden. And so we took the 5-year loan to clear that credit card. And then I think 3 months or 4 months later, we maxed out the card again. So we had a 5-year loan for, I think, $300,000, and a maxed out card for $250,000 in the space of like a 3 or 4 month span, right? So that was when we realized that we can't take the shortcut, right? So the shortcut was the loan, and we realized that we couldn't do that. So I'll pause here and say if you have any question, clearly this is not a traditional stream. We're gonna go throughout. So if you have questions as we go through, just feel free to ask. I'm not sure if we're gonna leave this up as is yet because it's kind of dynamic, but we really do appreciate you guys staying with us and listening in, right? Because it means a lot to us that and we feel safe to be able to do this here because we are a part of a community.
Yeah, so I'm here. I'm off camera, but I am here, and I will chip in from this side.
Yeah. So and for those who are wondering, so our son is our foster son. So we're foster parents, and because we are not at the place where his adoptive parents as yet, that's why he's not on camera, because I think we'd be more comfortable with him being on camera if it is that he's formally our child, and it is for his protection. I can't wait for him to start a YouTube channel, by the way. So I'll just say that. But today, actually, we were able to, just in this room, we had our interview to become approved adoptive parents. This is just for us to be added to the list of persons who are able to adopt, because the foster care stream and the adoption stream are different. So though we are foster parents and approved to do that, to become adoptive parents, we have to sign up and go through the same process. And so that hopefully will be approved. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be. And so that means should the opportunity present itself for us to adopt him, which will be our first choice, of course, then we'd be clear to do that.
You guys are getting all our details tonight.
Yeah, no. So I did want to share that because it's a big milestone for us, and so it is something that we are foster care ambassadors. So we encourage persons to be foster parents, especially if you love children and. No, Norma, it's not common, I'd say. Well, I don't know. It depends. I think the area you're coming from. It certainly wasn't common for us. I don't think we saw that really being a thing.
Not formally. I think I think informal fostering is common in Jamaica, but the formal fostering not so much.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, Gabino. It certainly doesn't always feel relatable, but thanks for saying that. All right. So what we did next is so as I got the job and I was able to start, providing some consistent income. So Javon, I see a question. I'll answer you shortly. But David, let me just answer you now. So David Rose is in our community group. Just if you're in the new community, just tag him. He should see it. If you're on Telegram, just message in the chat asking for him, and he'll see it and respond. All right. So after we got the job and we had that sort of consistency, I knew that I needed to clear. So I saw Tavares said his credit card debt was $1.3 million. So mine wasn't credit card debt, but it was around that value that I had, and then we had some other debts because of course we had the maxed out cards and so on. So I think when we added everything together, it was close to 2 million. And because I now had consistent income, we had a path to be able to get out of that debt. Right?
Yeah, because I don't know if we mentioned it explicitly, but I was working full time.
Yes.
From 2000.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
think in my head 17, 18 years now.
Right.
So from
2007. I started
2006,
started December 2007. So I was working full time all that time. When we got married, when we went in for the first assessment, all of that. And throughout the time of entrepreneurship for Jermaine, I was still working full time and helping with the business, and so we tried to make things work. Jermaine was in school. Did you mention that part that you were in school until
No, not
2016?
yet. Not yet.
So we had legitimate reason in our minds to be spending and racking up that credit card, because I wanted him to finish school and he didn't really want to do school, and he said
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. So I literally, she used to bug me about school, guys. Every
No, baby.
time we'd have a conversation about the business and it wasn't doing well. I think our son is saying hi. Is he saying? So every time she would bug me about the business, I said, well, if you want me to go to school so badly, just pay for it. And so one day she was like, sure, I'll pay for it. And so I said, okay, go ahead. So, of course, at the time, the means that I think we had to do that was the credit card. So
right.
we'd use the credit card, pay for a semester, try to clear that balance in time for the next semester. And so I went to school part-time, and it was supposed to be 4 years, took me a total of 6, right? So I finished starting 2010 and ended in 2016. So June 2016 or July 2016 was when I graduated, of course, as the top of my class.
I was just like, you better say that because he graduated very well.
Yeah. So Renee's investment paid off, right? So where was I? I think you need to help me fill some gaps here,
right? So you were talking about the fact that you got a job and that steady income was helping us to now be able to pay off the debt.
Okay, yeah. So that point is important, right? So I spoke to someone just today. Hopefully you're on the stream. I won't say your name, of course, but one of the things that we spoke about. So the person had a situation where they had a debt. So they did the net worth calculation, saw that there was a gap in their budget each month as well. I'm going through that process, and one of the things we spoke about is being able to fill the gap by increasing income, and that's one of the things that is important, right? If you're in debt, you have to find a way. So there are two types of issues here that can lead to debt. You can have a major expense, whether it be student loan, whether it be a car loan, whether it be some other debt that you take on. You have the debt that you need to clear. Some persons take an unsecured loan for some reason or another, then you have that debt to clear. Or you could have a situation where you're spending more than you're earning each month. So if you're spending more than you're earning, eventually you're going to have a ton of debt that you need to clear, right? So if you're in a position where you don't have any major debt, but you see that there's a deficit each month, eventually that's going to lead to a significant debt. Because if you're spending 30,000, 40,000 more than you're earning each month, over time that's going to add up, right? So usually if you have a credit card, it goes to the credit card. Usually if you have the chance to take a salary advance, it goes to that. But the best thing that you can do in that case is either increase your income, which I know is easier than it sounds, or you need to reduce what you're spending.
Or it's easier said than done.
What did I say?
It's easier than it sounds.
Yeah. Easier said than done, and easier than it sounds, right? No, not as easy as it sounds. That's what I meant to say. So and I know it's dynamic, right? So you may not. I'm just checking to see if our son is sleeping, so that really can come back. So I'm gonna pause there again just to see if there are any questions. Thanks, Oliver Mayer. Thanks for being on the stream. Yeah, so we
So I think the next thing to point out was that after realizing that we were in this position where we could not get a mortgage because of our financial state, you getting the job, the next thing that we really had to do was to face our financial situation.
Yes.
We had been operating in a way that was not optimal for a marriage. That's the truth. We were operating as two individuals, and so Jermaine was spending on his side and I was spending on my side, and I was in that wrong frame of mind where I was still thinking of myself as this independent woman, and I earn my own money, so I must spend my own money and no man can tell me what to do with my money. And
Guys, she was very independent. I had my hands full. I'll just say that.
I really operated that way. So it was difficult for us to have conversations about money because I felt like he was trying to control me or control how I spend and tell me what to do with my money. But eventually I would have learned that and it took me a while, but eventually I would have learned that that way of thinking is not healthy for a marriage. And so I had to let go of the my money mentality and the just doing things my way and being hyper independent, but instead really falling into God's intended framework for a husband and wife. And when I started doing that, which really I got saved in 2014, and Jermaine recommitted his life that same day, and we started studying the word and going to small groups and learning more about what the Lord intended for marriage. So it wasn't even about money, it was just about marriage. And as we became more committed to a healthy marriage, or communication improved, and it allowed us to then be able to talk about the money problem that we had.
Yeah. So we were able to have the conversation now really as to what the strategy should be, right? So what we did in terms of the cutbacks, etc. I'd say like it's I've heard about the baby. Well, we heard about the baby steps later by Dave Ramsey, but we literally cut all non-essential expenses. We were on, I think we were on like patty and juice lunch. We didn't eat anything that. So the goal for lunch was like $1,000 or less. At the time, we kind of postpone or delayed any major expenditure that wasn't critical. We tried to do, for example, so like our anniversary trips that we normally do, I think we just kept it on a very, very modest budget. So we just did everything like bare minimum. And that strategy was very, I mean, we got used to it. It wasn't sustainable, but we were able to kind of double down and do it for a while, which allowed us, I think it showed us how much we were really spending on things like food, on things like maybe our vacations that we were spending on before. It kind of showed us where everything was going. And that's why we have, so the steps that you see now in terms of the L.E.A.R.N methodology, that's when it really started for us. We actually went through those steps. And it took us 18 months from the point that I think we identified the negative net worth to the point that we're able to say yes, we're able to actually be in a position to buy a house.
Yeah, and so with that, by 2016, we were able to purchase our home.
Yeah.
And we moved in November 2016.
Yeah. So let me fill the blanks in there. So when I finished my internship, so it was a 1-year internship, I wasn't guaranteed a job, but I was hopeful. And so when I got the full-time job after the internship, my salary went up significantly. And so I was able to start contributing. Praise the Lord. And so we knew now that we had enough together. I think that was the first time ever in my life that I was earning more than Rennie? No.
No, not yet.
I wasn't even. Wow. Yeah. So yes, only once in our marriage for 7 months in 21 years that I ever earned more than Rennie. Right.
Well, you're back. You're back now, so it's cool.
Whatever. Yes, everything is right with the word. But so we were able to, our incomes were closer now, right? And so with that, we knew that we had enough to comfortably cover our mortgage. We saw a path we were able to save and get the deposit. And so we went back and we applied. And because I had a full-time job, because Rennie had the history of consistent income, and I think we had built up some savings. We had things like
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because as we were seeking to find the deposit for the home, we did not realize just how much we had saved in different spaces,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I had an account at the credit union. I had an account at my workplace at the time where there was
Rennie's a saver.
where there where there was mandatory savings. I mean that was mandatory. I didn't have it wasn't, they actually took it out before we got the salary. So that was there at the workplace. The credit union was there. We had the NHT contribution
CRTD.
contribution refund towards deposit that I was able to access, and I did not know about it before. So it was when we started looking for the home and we went to NHT and started doing that research, we found out about the CRTD loan, and that pretty much allows you to access 7 years of your refunds all at once to put towards the deposit to your house or towards the closing cost. And so that covered a big chunk that we didn't know that we had. So when we did the spreadsheet, because guys, we're Excel people. When we did the spreadsheet and we tallied everything, all of the little bits, the bits of savings from here, there, and everywhere, we were able to have exactly what we needed for the deposit.
Yeah. So, everything just kind of came together. So we started the process, I think, for buying the home in March. So that's the home that we're in right now, by the way. We bought it in 2016. We moved in late October, I think, early November. And we've been here since. And I must say, this property, though I'm not a fan of real estate investment, guys, the property value in 8 years has doubled.
At least, yeah.
It has doubled. Now, I'll talk about that another day. So let me see if I'm missing anything. I think that's it, right? So we were able to. So I saw somebody taking some notes here. So Mo is saying step 1, 2, stable income. So when you're trying to do it as a couple, yes, that would be recommended. So for us, we've learned since then, it's important to do it together, because when we tried to do our goals separately, it just became a little frustrating because
and it ends up it results in divergence.
Yes. So, Renee is doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. We're not really headed in the same direction. So it's almost like two persons going 2 separate cars and they drive off, versus 2 persons going in the same car and determining where they're going so they get there together. Right?
Exactly.
You've been liking my analogies. Right? So it helped. It worked for us, right? So as premarital counselors, when we're counseling couples about money, we talk to them about whether or not they want to manage it together or manage it separately, but still have a plan around it together. So you don't have to share everything in terms of like bank accounts or anything like that, but you should always plan for it together. We don't believe in concealing things in that way, because if you have trust issues, then of course those things need to be addressed. If one person has a problem with money, that needs to be addressed. And I'll say here that I was the one that had the problem with money, right? So I didn't manage money well. That was me. I do have a history of gambling as well. It's something I don't think I've ever said in this forum before. And so when I say things, for example, like there's a certain company that I don't invest in because I see the impact of it, I think you can understand that I'm speaking from a place of personal experience because I know the impact of gambling. I know what it did to me in terms of what I'd keep from Renee. I'd be maxing out, credit cards or just emptying my accounts to try and win big, because I saw our mounting debt and thought I could just, just buy a number or just, find the right combination and I just have enough money to clear it all. It doesn't work that way. So when we tried to take the quick fixes, it didn't work out, right? Sasimo saying step 1, 2, stable income, step 2, combined income, step 3, net worth calculation, step 4, refocus as one unit under God. I like that. I like that.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad that Jermaine touched on it because the working it out together, the planning together is something that we found to be extremely vital, right? So we do it every year. We do a plan for us as a unit for the year, and we also do a budget for our family for the year, and we revisit that every month. We make sure that we're tracking against it to see where we are. We revisit each month to see what adjustments we need to make, etc. But it is how we are able to manage our funds. We have opted to have everything accessible to each other. So we have all our information shared.
Our entire lives in Excel.
Right. We have all our information shared. So at any point, either one of us can go in and see where we are. We know the state of our accounts. We know the state of our investments. So it allows us to make decisions in that from that informed place. And one of the things that we have found with couples and what couples struggle with is that someone in the unit usually feels like if they tell the other person everything that they have, then the other person is going to cause them to spend it.
Yes. There's this kind of fear that I can't share everything that I have, or I need to have a secret account, or I need to no. So here's what I'll say to that. I do understand, right? Because, for example, if somebody is bad with money, you don't necessarily want them to be able to get access to spend that money. But I do believe that the middle ground to that. So I don't believe the secrecy, because again, it's the things that we're talking about here, I think, are for married people. If you're dating, I don't think you have any obligation there to have everything accessible to somebody you're dating. If you're married, then you're under covenant until death, right? So that's different than somebody who's dating. So don't mix the two, right? Now, if back when I was terrible with money, would I think it'd be a good idea for Renee to let me know or give me access to money? Would it cause me to gamble more? Probably. So, but I wouldn't necessarily want her to not let me know that it's there, right? So on one side, transparency is important, being open is important, but no, you also have to have the discipline to not give so you don't give the alcoholic a drink, right? So but we don't subscribe to the secrecy about it, because that is dishonest, and it's not going to build the marriage. I certainly can tell you that. So in terms of, I wanted to talk about our investment styles.
Right.
Okay. So our
So I think that kind of rounds out
yeah,
how we got out of the debt, and how we got to the goal of owning the home. Then after we owned the home, we started looking towards, and most people who have been in our community for a long time would hear us talk about it often, that after we bought our home, we were like, okay, what's next?
yeah.
And at that dinner with friends at our home, we started that conversation about investing. That's how our WhatsApp group started.
Yeah, but it actually came a little bit before that. Meaning it was about April 2016 when Renee said to me, Renee was like, "There's this guy at work. He's telling me about some investment thing. It's called Ethereum, and it's currently at $30. And if we buy, she wanted to buy 10 of them, so she wanted to spend $300 to purchase 10 Ethereum tokens." And I was like, I don't know what that is. That sounds so here I'll say it. I don't think I've ever
Ethereum.
said this. I wasn't for it because it wasn't my idea. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just say that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know who. I was like, I don't want no other guy giving you investment advice. I don't.
Even though we didn't know anything about investing at the time, but
Yeah, I
okay.
didn't know anything about investing either. It's like, to me, investing was just as risky as gambling, because and that I knew about, right? So I was like, that 300 US was what, $45,000 at the time or less, because the US was like 110.
I don't remember.
So it's like $35,000. That would be what, 30,000 US now. That would be $3 million right now, right? Anyway,
Yeah, so just rewind
yeah.
to the start of this live, when you were talking about selling all our assets to
Oh,
put in one
whatever.
stock
Yes.
when it was at $2.
Yes.
Right. And I said no,
Oh yeah. So
this was kind of worse.
that's. How is this worse? Is this worse? Yes, it's worse, because that's 1,000%.
Yeah.
Trans
But
Jamaica
we
hasn't gone up 1,000%.
but we digress.
Yes.
Let's continue.
I'll also say that, so we started our cryptocurrency journey that year. So we started it before we actually moved into the house.
Yeah.
We had some tokens called Omisego at the time, OMG, if you can believe that, which is worth nothing now, by the way. But at the time, they were going to do big things. And so we used to use our credit card to purchase, I think, what was the name? Was it Bittrex?
Bittrex and Kraken.
Bittrex and Kraken. And it was very expensive to do this, guys, back in 2016, 2017. And so I remember the first time we bought it, I think our average price at the time was like $11. And if you get used to crypto, there's ebbs and flows. When that had a pullback one day and it was like $8, $7, we were in full panic mode, because we spent at the time like 2,000 US. No, it wasn't so much. We spent like 600 or 700 US on Omisego tokens at the time, because we were only buying that at first. And I remember when it had the first kind of pullback, and I was like, what is this? We're about to lose all of our money. And then, of course, it recovered, and our average price, I think, worked out to be about $9 at the time, and it went all the way to $30. And then I said to my wife, my loving wife, I say, Renee, it's up 200% now. Should we sell? It's like, no, we're going to the moon. We're going to $100. And it never got back there.
It never did. It never did.
got back there. So I'm sharing all of these things with you because that particular lesson there was when we learned to take profit.
Yeah.
That was the turning point, right? That was about 2017. That was when we learned to take profit, because we had, I think at the time, a total of about 3,000 or 4,000 US invested in cryptocurrencies. It was valued at close to $1 million. Everything was up. Everything was up. Everything was doing well. But we never took profits. And so we lost all of that, I think, January 2017. when Bitcoin first went to 17,000, then it went all the way back down. And imagine that now Bitcoin is 100,000. So yeah, there's so many things. there's so many stories.
But the point is,
Mhm.
the point is that around that time is when we started looking into investing, because now we understood that there is more to building wealth
Yeah,
than just saving, and that also owning your home is not the end of the journey. So yes, it's great that we were able to purchase our home. It's great that we had stable jobs. It was great that we had vehicles, but those things were not actually making any money.
yeah,
They were actually taking money from us. So what were we then going to do to help our financial standing to improve? How could we have these additional streams of income? And so when we had that conversation with our friends and they started teaching us about, or talking to us about investing, and we started doing some research and understanding a little bit more about what it truly means to invest, we said, okay, well, clearly we need to take this seriously.
yeah, because our friends were doing really well, right? One of our friends, he was, when we were just kind of dabbling in investing, he was putting up millions. And of course, we weren't at that level. Our cash flow wasn't there. But it felt good to know that, because this friend, he was a little bit younger than us, but he started from scratch. So it wasn't like he inherited any money. He built a business that did really well, generated a lot of positive cash flow, and that he was able to use to invest. And I've told the story before. I have another friend who just buys one stock. So he'll put all of his money, sometimes 8, 9, $10 million on one stock, wait till that doubles. And then so while I'm there trying to make pennies, he's making millions of dollars on each transaction. And so things like that kind of showed us that we can invest in a different way, right? Thank you for joining me. I felt
On
so
screen,
awkward
right?
talking to myself.
Oh goodness, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
So, I think we can take some questions.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. And then we can talk about the investing journey a little bit more. But I think the summary version of the investing journey, you guys are the beneficiaries of it,
All the
because
mistakes we made and all the money we've lost.
and also just Learn, Grow, Invest itself came out of that same WhatsApp group that was formed back in 2017-18, where we started learning. And as we were learning, we thought, well, other persons want to learn this too, and we started sharing with others. That's just our nature.
Yeah.
That's how the Lord has made us. So once we start learning something, we're going to be sharing it as well. And Learn, Grow, Invest became what it is today.
It actually wasn't called Learn, Grow, Invest either.
Initially, though, it
name
wasn't. We went through some iterations.
But yeah, we had a couple of names. I remember the 2030 Investment Club.
Yeah.
We're called the 2030 IC at one point. And then we just wrote down some names one day, and I came up Learn, Grow, Invest, and I just thought it would.
Yeah. So that was so that's really how we moved from, and I know it was a long winding way that we shared the story today, and we had some unexpected interruptions.
That's been our
But
life.
yeah, it's been that's pretty much how it has been. So I hope that at the end of it all, you understand what we're saying, that coming out of that $2 million in debt, and the 2 million is not, it wasn't just $2 million debt, but it was negative 2 million net worth. Right. So coming from that to a place where we're able to
look at where we are now.
Yeah, to a place where we're able to just invest, not just invest, but also to pour into others and to be building a business again.
And we've made some millionaires for sure from our community.
And to be building a business again, it's a big deal. And we truly are thankful that the Lord gave us this opportunity to do this. So we can jump to the questions. We have a few
let's take some.
We have some in the chat already.
Yeah, but we're gonna take them just as we see them. Sorry if you've been here for a while. Delton is asking, have you ever been tempted to utilize your home equity for investment purposes? Now I would, Delton. Are you on board with that?
I'm not on board. I'm just saying we had the home equity.
We have almost.
We did have
equity now.
Yeah, we did have the conversation, and actually, we thought about taking the home equity for other reasons as well. We thought about taking it for the purpose of doing a renovation on the property, but to be completely transparent, when we found out what it would take,
it's pretty much taking a mortgage again
to get the equity, we're like, this is not worth it, right? Yeah. This is not worth all of that work right now. But we did think about it for investment purposes. The challenge with that,
a certain petroleum IPO coming out.
The challenge with that, I think, when we asked about the home equity, there were some limitations on what you could use it for, and you'd have to produce invoices, etc.
I think to use it for investment purposes, would have to use the house as collateral and take it unsecured. I don't think we can use a home equity loan for investment.
Correct. So
I think that's what we were told.
Right. So we couldn't do it anyway.
Yeah, not in the way that we wanted to. But Delton, I would do it. I'm a little bit more risky in terms of my profile, but yeah.
Yeah, he surely is.
So Kadan is asking, what do you use to buy crypto in Jamaica? I think you can do it with interactive brokers. That's the way I'd recommend now. That's probably the simplest way, because when we started, none of the brokers had. I remember we had one called eToro at the time, I think. Was the only platform that was allowing you to buy crypto at the time. Now all of the major exchanges in the US will allow you to do it, or at least the stable coins anyway. That's a safe way that we recommend you do it. But of course, we've used Binance in recent years. Binance is very complicated now. I'm sure there's a simpler way. What else can you use? So the way that I'd recommend is that you just travel to the US if you can, or open a US bank account here in Jamaica. Send funds from your local USD account to your overseas USD account, and then you fund your crypto purchases that way, because some banks may still flag it in Jamaica. So yeah, interactive brokers and Binance, and you're good. So well, we don't gamble at all right now. We don't recommend it.
And I wouldn't equate
They're not the same.
Investing in the stock market to gambling. It's really not the same thing.
So Kayla Moore, thank you for speaking so openly about this. The narrative that is filling up our culture is so different from this togetherness that you both speak of. So here's the thing, what Renee did, I'll say specifically, is not normal, right? I'll just say that. In hindsight, it worked out, but maybe she's not as conservative as she thinks to take a chance on me in that way, because I was a bum, guys. Honestly, I was a bum.
But I saw more.
Whatever. I think we touched on it already. First, you have to have someone in your life who wants to do that with you. That's for sure. No games, and who wants to change your mindset and is willing to be better, so you both can move forward. So what I'll say to that is this. We work with a lot of couples. We do couples consultation, couples counseling, couples accountability. We've had sessions in our home where couples come in and we do like games nights and so on. the biggest issue I see, and Renee, you can share your take, is that most couples don't want to do the work to get to the point of agreement, because it's not going to be one conversation or two or three.
And it's not going to be easy either.
We've had hundreds of conversations about money, and that's why we're here now. So it's...
And they weren't always pleasant. Like most of them were very uncomfortable conversations. Most of them ended up in tears and
or anger.
Yeah. So, but you have to be willing to push through that. It cannot be that every hurdle you meet upon it becomes a stone wall.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to go beyond the discomfort, because you're not going to grow if you just stay in your comfort zone. It doesn't happen for you individually, and it doesn't happen for you as a couple.
Yeah.
So when you face the hardships, if it means that you need help, seek the help to get you through the difficult portion of the conversation. Even now, 15 years later in our marriage, when we're having conversations or disagreements and there's something that we feel stuck on, we're going to our accountability persons or couples to say, hey, we're stuck on this, we're having a challenge here, can you help us to sort it through? And usually in their wisdom they say a line or two, and we're like, oh my gosh, we feel so much better, and it makes it so much easier for us to get through it. So yeah, do the hard work, and sometimes the hard work is just admitting that you need help.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to be willing to get there together. As I said, where again, just imagine you both going in separate cars or going in one car together. Someone has to usually compromise, and honestly, I think the compromise as a part of a husband's leadership. If you're the one who can compromise, you should. And guys, I know that's not easy to hear, but I think it's a part of just, I guess, your service to your family. Now, I know that some of the things we're talking about here, some of you are single, some of you may not be married, some of you may be divorced. So we're not negating your unique situation, but we do understand, and we believe that once you're married, you should do everything you can to make it work. If you're not married, then you don't have to worry about that. But you should try to maximize your marriage, because it is one of your biggest investments, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Norma is asking, do you do consultations for persons overseas? As once you're on planet Earth, we do consultations for you, and you speak English. So Norma, just send us an email or message us on one of our platforms. We'll send you the link, and we can get things started for you. Yes, that was a thing. That was a thing. I even got to the point of just so after I stopped gambling in terms of like physically, I started to just buy. Remember when I used to buy like FIFA points?
Uh-huh.
So I'd max out my credit cards on FIFA points, trying to get the best player in FIFA when I should have just spent time learning how to play FIFA. But that's another thing.
Yeah, that became a thing.
Hey, Tonian, Jerome, Celebrity is in the chat, guys. Harold is saying Renee took the biggest risk ever. Exactly, and she did invest exceptionally well. So here's the thing that I've realized with Renee, and this annoys me, I'll say. She will not pay attention to something. So I'll use the same FIFA example here, Harold. I'm here trying to play FIFA. They had this kind of practice game or the skills game. I'm there. Renee has been watching me play FIFA for like 2 years. And I'm trying to do the skills challenge. And I'm like, okay, give it a try. Renee is playing this game for 5 minutes and is getting higher scores than I would. That annoys me, right? So she doesn't want to play. She has no interest in playing. and then in 5 minutes she's going to do a better job than I've been doing for like 2-3 years. This is the nature of Renee. Guys, when I met her, I used to ask her to tutor me. She's always been smarter than me. I'll just say that. All right, Georgia, for sure. I do. He who finds a good wife, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I don't see any other questions. Thanks, Analog. Yeah, right. So we do have a couples channel that is dormant.
We're about to revive.
Well, let's see, because when we have days like we had tonight, I don't know. But let me share it with you guys so you can appreciate where we're coming from.
Yeah. So I mean, even that channel came at a time, or it was started at a time when it was just us. We didn't have any kids yet.
Yeah.
And then our first foster child came into the picture, and things just shifted drastically.
Yep.
And then when he had to be returned to his biological home, it rocked us. It really rocked us a lot, and we paused on content. So even
our last video was 3 years ago.
Yeah. So and that's how long we've had our jelly bean. So we haven't
blame that guy.
We haven't done any content since we've had him.
Yeah.
And it's something that is really on our hearts for us to restart, because really the fact that we are premarital counselors, the fact that we had this channel, and there's so many other things, the accountability couples, we have a heart for marriages, we have a heart for families, and we believe it's something that the Lord has called us to. So it's not for us to ignore it. We're certainly going to get back there, and we do feel the pull of the Lord saying now is the time. So
yeah, for sure. Humble Boss say, I'm really inspired by you guys. Wish you both more great success and a lot of milestones. More milestones are coming for sure. Thanks, Harold.
Biggest fan.
I think I answered you already, Javon.
So I think there's some new.
Yeah, I'm just going back
comments.
In case we missed anything here.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Hold on. Diane, I'll tell you when we talk. I'll tell you. Okay, so guys, for all the stock questions, I'm going live on Friday. I'll take all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check IG as well. Okay, cool. All right, so let me go to the new.
Right.
And
wild.
Okay. All right, so Delton, we understand you. Yes, Harold, I'm well aware of this.
Oh my goodness.
So I am me. Teaches not to take. Okay, so I'll check that
Letters
out.
of a story. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you for that.
I'm not an addict anymore.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Renee is blessed and you're even. yes, for sure.
You're into that.
Since you'll have the ability to buy USA stock from Jamaica, just Google TSLY. Okay, so X-Ray Designs, can you post that in our new community, please? I don't think I'm going to remember all of these. So we have our new community. Let me just share that again. You do have the option to join our new community group, and it is for free. You can join, and we've essentially combined our Telegram, LinkedIn, Facebook in one group. And so you're able to join us. Just scan the barcode or just go to the link in the description of this video, and you'll be able to join us. All right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. Do you guys bank, land bank, or stock bank? So I know about land banking, but I don't know.
It stocks for us, though.
Yeah,
it stocks for us.
stocks. Trust me.
Majorly. And what we'll always say is that we're not opposed to any
other type of investment.
Right, to any other type of investment, as long as it makes sense for us and where we are. We do private equity, we did real estate.
And it wasn't on a private equity transaction.
It wasn't real estate. The real estate that we did wasn't the best.
But we made some money.
But we did make some profit, and we were able to draw on a profit from that. So we're open to using the opportunities, or to taking the opportunities that are before us. But stocks for us is the core and is the base.
It's the best,
and then we use that to fund any other venture that we're taking on. And also, I just want to say that with the investing that we've done, it has allowed us to weather a lot of storms. So in the times when,
especially those dividends,
in the times when income was unstable, in the times when our business wasn't making enough to pay us, and so we had no salary for months, it's the investments that we had made that carried us through, and we weren't in want of anything, and we're just grateful for that. So when we speak and we say to persons that you can and you should invest, it's because we've seen the benefit of it, and it is not a theory for us. It's lived experience, right? We're not selling anything. We're just telling you that this is what we've lived. This has been the experience. And when we could have gone through COVID and not see a change in our net worth, like that was a big deal. It did not drop. That was a big deal for us.
Yeah, you're right.
So
it's actually grown since COVID as well.
Right. It has grown now, but for those 2 years when things were on lockdown and things were tight and it was so challenging in so many ways, we were able to maintain our net worth. We didn't have to sell anything extra. We parked one vehicle for 2 years.
Yeah, a car was sitting.
It was just there
for a year and a half, and if we had that money in stocks. So we ultimately sold that car, and so what we've done.
No, we sold the other vehicle.
Yeah,
we drive that one.
What we've done is what COVID taught us to is to go back to being lean. So we didn't go to the extremes that we did to clear our debt, but we minimized our debt. And now that we've kind of stabilized our income, we are able to see like positive cash flow again, enough to start investing more aggressively or more consistently. Let me say it that way. And I think we'll be in good shape. 3-5 years from now, we're probably going to be. So my goal, I'll say this openly, is to have $150 million in assets. And if we have $150 million in assets, I'm challenging my wife to stop working, because she's been saying she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And so, do we have a deal? She'll come in.
We'll see what that 150 is worth at that time.
She's not shaking my hand, guys. She's not willing to agree. So she's always said that she wants to work from. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I've said, okay, what's that number? Did you say the number that day?
No, I don't even remember.
Right? Okay. So the reason
but we'll know when we get there.
So the reason why I choose that number, for those wondering, it's $1 million US, right? And it's actually, I don't consider that far from where we are if the next few years go as we think they will go, but I'll leave that for now. Okay.
Right.
About that wallet, hey, good to see you here. Okay, that's it. Okay.
Right.
So Diane, I'll
talk about this on Friday.
I'll talk about this on Friday.
So I think at this point,
yes,
we just want to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here. We know it was a little crazy tonight,
Thank
but
you for your patience.
You remained, and it has been a blessing to share with you in this way. It's something that we've wanted to do for a while. And we're like, do people really care? Like, do they really want to hear what we've gone through? Like, does it really matter? But we believe, based on your comments, that it has been helpful tonight. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of our community. We certainly look forward to interacting with you more inside the community. So if you're not yet a part of it, please make sure that you click the link in the description and sign up tonight.
Yes. And for all the stock questions, we'll take that on Friday. Cyber money, I see that you're asking on IG. If I was interested in getting this private equity, what's the ideal amount? I'll have a private equity conversation, but I'll say you can literally start with any amount, but you would want to start with something. It's more about the business. I wouldn't worry about the capital that you have. Let the business that you're investing in tell you how much they want. For us, our transaction was just a few $1 million, but I would say, in my mind, I thought we needed 20, 30, 40 million to go into private equity. We didn't.
Right.
So you don't need a large amount of money, but you have to understand that it's not an IPO where you're going to buy and 2 months you double your money, or you're going to get 20, 30, 40% on it. It's extremely risky and it takes years. So if you have patient capital, then you can certainly go for it.
I love the next comment though, where she said, I joined the community years ago and always hear you both talk about taking profits. I finally did this year and made a significant amount. I love it.
Rich. We'll set up that donate button for you to share some of those.
Right. So we always love hearing the testimonies of our community members and to meet them in person. So guys, like so many of you will go to the most random places and people are like,
please always say hi to us, and when you see us, take a photo with us, please.
Yes, always. We're willing and open. So thank you guys for being here with us, and we hope you have a great rest of day. Learning is the key to successful investing. And who doesn't want to invest in some way?
Here at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest, we focus on financial education, all with the aim of sharing our knowledge on personal finance, investing, and building wealth. We do this on the foundation of our faith in God.
If a more holistic approach is what you need, check out our Grow Faith-based financial coaching program.
Find out more about us at learngrowinvestclub.com
and follow us on all social media platforms at L.E.A.R.N Grow Invest.